Come, sit. Your helmets, remove them. Your faces I wish to see.
What's going on, Star Wars fans? It's TheSpaceWizard here, coming at you with another Star Wars video. For this video, I wanted to pick a topic that a lot of Star Wars creators cover, but don't cover appropriately, in my opinion.
Cheat death is a power only one has achieved.
That's right, we're talking about the ability to cheat death.
What?
Now, I know everyone's familiar with the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise, and if you're not familiar with it, drop a comment down below, and I'll make another video covering the topic of Darth Plagueis the Wise and his ability to cheat death and all the powers that he attained if you would like. However, in this video, I'd like to bring up a point that most Star Wars creators don't even try to mention in any of their videos when it comes down to this subject. And in fact, the more and more I looked into this subject, the more things I started to uncover that kind of made sense, but also didn't make sense at all when you really started to invest yourself into the idea. Palpatine never fully cheated death. He never fully figured out the ability that Darth Plagueis mentioned. In a short reference in the Darth Plagueis novel from 2012, Darth Plagueis ends up jump-starting the midichlorians in Darth Venomous' body, kind of like a defibrillator jump-starts a heart. He continued to do this every time Darth Venomous passed from this world just to bring him back to show Sidious how powerful he was as the prime example. Now, throughout our entire movie, TV, animation experience through Star Wars, we never see Sidious go as far into death as influencing the midichlorians. Instead, we are given the idea that he went with the cloning route, something that Darth Plagueis did disagree with. A lot of times people bring up the fact that it's impossible to clone a Force sensitive, and most of the times they would be correct, except for nowadays we have examples like Omega, a clone of Jango Fett who has a high midichlorian count almost to a Force sensitive level. And even furthering towards the sequel trilogy, we found out that Palpatine's grand plan was to clone himself or a vessel for him to put his spirit into to harbor himself, that way he can continue on his empire. That original vessel is Dathan Palpatine, the clone son of Palpatine. However, we come to understand that that plan failed, and ultimately Palpatine found another way to present himself to us in Rise of Skywalker as his original self in a clone body. So what did I mean by Palpatine didn't fully understand the ability to cheat death? I think this next clip accurately represents what everybody is missing in their entire argument about this.
Not much to look at here, sir. We all share the same face.
Deceive you, eyes can. In the Force, very different each one of you are.
Did you catch what Yoda said there? Through the Force, each one of you is different. Now, if we use a little bit of critical thinking here and think about it, when Palpatine cloned himself, he created Dathan Palpatine, a physical clone of Sheev Palpatine. However, everything about him is different. Outside of characteristics, mindsets, personality traits, and the inability to use the Force, Dathan Palpatine is his own person outside of Sidious. You see the point I'm trying to make here? In Rise of Skywalker, that wasn't Darth Sidious, but it was.
What?
Let me explain real quick. When Sidious cloned himself, he created a new identity through the Force, which was this clone Sidious that we come to know as Dathan Palpatine. However, when that failed, he recreated the project, giving us his presentation in IX, another cloned Sidious, meaning another life that was erased. Yes, erased.
What?
Consider the following. Given the evidence that we have from the Clone Wars and everything we know about cloning, every individual clone has their own identity in the Force. This is an irrefutable fact. The Sith ability of essence transfer can be viewed as a parasitic-like virus. Once you project your consciousness inside the mind of another vessel, in my own idea, what would end up happening is that the current spirit and the invasive spirit would have a conflicting battle of who would be in control. And when I describe it that way, it really sounds like a case of possession and demonism, and in reality, that's kind of what it is. When Darth Sidious possesses a body, he fully takes over the consciousness and it becomes him, utterly erasing the original persona. For further proof of that, we can just look at the example of Dathan Palpatine, his clone son, who was a failure in his eyes and he chose not to do this with. And ultimately, I'm glad Sidious didn't get the opportunity to put his spirit inside of Rey, because a female Palpatine would be a little bit weird in my opinion. With all that being said, I do hope you've enjoyed this little theory video that I've come up with today. If you have, make sure you click that thumbs up button. Let me know that you enjoyed the video, and drop a comment down below if you got more that you'd like to add to this video that we could talk about in the future. As always, Star Wars fans, may the Force be with you, and I'll see you in the next video.